the football's the biggest spectacle, with a tournament set to be hosted across the US, Canada, and Mexico this summer. Football Wave will bring you the in-depth analysis, the trending stories, and everything you need to know concerning the upcoming tournament in North America. We'll also make time to assess all the 48 teams and their chances of qualifying to the next round of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We'll make time to break down the tactics of the coaches and also spotlight the players that you'll be watching out for. All here and more on Football Wave on Weezer TV. Remember, the show is interactive, and so we will welcome your comments, your expectations, and your thoughts as well here on Football Wave on Weezer TV. It's glad to have you along, and we are pleased you making time to watch us tonight. Once again, my name is Samuel Apia, and my guys are already seated. The known faces that you know every day, they've been on your screens every day, but today we've joined forces to bring you the football wave here on Weezer TV. Let me quickly introduce them, and then we zoom straight onto our discussion. First of all, let me introduce him, Michael Gogo. Mike, good evening. Welcome to Football Wave here on Weezer TV.
It's really exciting to be here. The tension has been building, the pressure, the excitement, of course, since morning, and since it was announced that we'll be doing this. So it's absolutely great to be here with you guys.
Great. So there you have it, Michael Gogo sharing his thoughts with us. And let's move straight to the middle. The other gentleman is with us on the full-time show, and he joined us. Eric, good evening and welcome to Football Wave here on Weezer TV.
Good evening, Samuel. Thank you so much for having me.
Right. So there you have it. The other gentleman seems he has his own issues, but he joined us once again. And Wendell, good evening and welcome to Football Wave here on Weezer TV.
Good evening. At least finally,
my misery has been put to rest. And there's something bigger to look up to, which is the World Cup, and I'm glad to be here to have a bite on this.
Right, so there you have it. You have Michael, you have Eric, and then you have Wendell. They will help me to do all the analysis and break down all the groups and what we should expect going into the 23rd edition of the FIFA 2026 FIFA World Cup. Before we start, let's zoom straight to Group A. Let's bring you Group A, the teams that are there, and they will bring you all the details and everything that you need to know. And then the guys will help us to understand what we should expect from Group A heading into the World Cup. So we'll bring you the teams in Group A, and I will bring you everything that you need to know concerning Group A. So we know that in Group A, whilst we are waiting for the graphics to show up, we know that in Group A we have Mexico, we have South Africa, we have Czechia also in the Czech Republic, and then we have South Korea there. We'll bring you more things that you need to know. Okay, so there you have it. We have Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, and then we have Czechia as well, or Czech Republic, if you can call it that way. So these are the teams that are in Group A for you, and we'll bring the teams down, and I will bring you more details on that. But let me begin with you. Let's begin. Group A, like I said, we have, South Africa, Mexico, South Korea, and then Czech Republic. Any expectations, even before you start with that? In Mexico, remember they are part of the countries that will be co-hosting the tournament, and they had an issue where one of their drug lords was killed, and then tensions were all over the countries. And then there were some reports suggesting that Mexico will not be able to host a tournament. But it looks like Mexico are prepared for this tournament.
Yeah, it has been a very great bounce back for them on the PR side and organization side. You look at where they've come from the drug lord case, to now being the country that is actually going to host Iran because of the issues in US. It just goes to show they've prepared, or they've come a long way to host this, and they are really prepared to host the world and show the world how best they can do when it comes to hosting the World Cup. And yes, it's an exciting time for people to go view the country of Mexico. There are several nice places in there, and yes, this is their very good opportunity to showcase and show us what they have.
Right, so there you have it, Mexico being part of the countries that will be co-hosting the tournament this summer. I mean, Eric, last night we saw South Africa President Ramaphosa together with Hugo Bruce and then the players having a dinner, and then they the president give them a perfect sending off. Mamelodi Sundowns, Hugo Bruce surprisingly announced the squad, and we had 11 defenders in that particular squad, and the squad entirely, most of them coming from Mamelodi Sundowns, but they were competing against an old foe that they played against in the 2010 World Cup. You assess this South African side and going to this tournament, any hope for them looking at the opposition that they'll be playing against?
Yeah, definitely it will be tough. It will be tough. If you go back to 2010, it was the same. Although they were hosts, they were not really favorites. The signs were always there that they were not really going to be very competitive. But if you look at how Hugo Bruce has also been able to manage the side and the kind of matches that they've played, if you even look at the final 26-man squad that he has been able to assemble, yes, the big names wouldn't be there, players that do not play for some of the biggest clubs in the world. But if you look at the qualifiers and the kind of campaign they had, they competed in a very, very tough group, but they topped that group and made sure that they will qualify for the World Cup. The 26-man squad has very, very young players in there, 2 new players who have never played for South Africa before, but been able to impress the coach and find their way in their final 26-man squad. I think that they have a very good team in terms of cohesion, in terms of how they will be able to play as a unit, and that's going to be very key for them. So it's a difficult group for them, but if you look at how compact that they can play under Hugo Bruce and how they can play to instructions and stay resolute and fight till the end, I think that it's there for them to take it. They can't go past the group stage, unlike 2010 when they failed to advance to the round of 16. I think that they can't do something. They just need to make sure they play like how we've seen them play under Hugo Bruce, be compact when they need be, make sure they take their chances. They have individual players. You can talk about the goalkeeper, Rowan Williams. Yeah. You can talk about Mokwena. You can talk about Lyle Foster. These are very good individual players that can change games for you in any day. So if they are able to, take advantage of the strength that they have in the individual quality and then overall play as a unit, I think that they can do something in the group stage and maybe advance into the next round of the competition.
Right. So there you have it. South Africa sending in most of their local players to this tournament. Mike.
Yeah.
You look at South Korea. Most of their players are playing in Asia, and few more of their players. A few players are playing in European top flight football. But then again, they are a side that are very, very difficult to play against. Of course, Ghana came up against them in the last edition of the tournament in Qatar, and they were able to beat them. But they find themselves in a very, very interesting group. And the last edition, they were not able to qualify. But you look at the teams in this group particularly, you think South Korea will be able to make it out?
Interestingly, South Korea has, over the past few years, developed a very, very particular niche of football where they've tried as much as possible to bring their local talents, especially into Germany and into France. So you see a lot of them in Germany, you see a lot of them in France, and they've been able to build a style of football, a brand of football where they are infusing their local players and then the European identity together. If you look at the likes of Son Heung-min, Lee Kang-in, and then the Napoli defender, they've been able to borrow a certain style of European understanding to their football, where previously all they had to do was knock and run, but now you watch South Korea and you can see that they can play, they can pass, they have a very, very interesting identity. It is why at the last World Cup they were very criticized, because when Paulo Bento was coaching them, it felt like they were not being free. But with their new coach, they have been able to develop a style that is making them free, that is making them play very good football. Of course, the group is a tough group for them, but I think it is a group where it's balanced, and I think they'll be at home and they'll be relishing their chances, because this is a group where they can easily qualify from.
Right. So Eric, Mike believes that South Korea definitely will be able to navigate through this group and then make it to the next round. Now, Wandel, there's another side or another country that Yeah, in 2006 we saw them in there, but I think that since then they've had their own issues, or they've had their own challenges. But you talk about, I mean, Czech Republic, because they produce some of the best players. I think the only player that comes to mind has to do with the former Arsenal, midfielder, Rziski. And I think since then they've been struggling to produce, very good quality, players. But they find themselves in this group. The country seems similar. It looks like they have their own challenges. But should this be a group that they will be able to at least cause a trouble?
When you look at this Czech Republic side, and as you mentioned, they are golden generation, which was came up in 2006, where the Black Stars beat them, faded away without them achieving anything. But you look at in the last 4 or 5 years, they had a resurgence, coming up with players like Tomáš Souček, Kufa, who managed to find themselves in the Premier League, and from there they've been building on. They currently have a player in Inter Milan, Tomáš Souček, and yes, these are players that on any day will be seen as dark horses. And when you look at how Czech Republic has been performing, even in the Nations League and building up to their qualifying, they don't look like a team that should be underrated at all.
Right.
They play with grit and are really are not scared to go through the mud and dig deep when it matters the most. And the key thing that makes them extra dangerous is the set piece advantage that they have.
Right.
You look at the height in there of some of the players that have been called up, and that is a thing that I see their coach going to capitalize on most, because you compare their height to Mexico and South Korea, and you have a height imbalance in there. It means they go into these games looking for corners, taking advantage of corner set pieces, and by the time you realize, they could go through, because in this particular situation all you need is 4 points to get through to the round of 32. So yes, it's quite open, and I think Czech Republic is a dark horse that a lot of people are not looking at, but could really surprise most of the teams in there. And another thing too that we have to mention is amongst all the teams, Czech Republic looks like the team that is most fit and can go through 90 minutes and still play how they play. We've seen South Korea come in and play in a very nice way, but then fade out as games go by. I don't think Mexico has what it takes to play 90 minutes because of the quality.
They are a host country, so you expect them to be there. How do you expect a host country not to be fit enough to play a whole 90 minutes?
When we talk about fitness issues, we are saying this is a team that will heavily rely on a few players, and then when those players do not have their day, you have to be issues. A problem. But then you look at a Czech Republic team that has balanced it with some experienced players in there. We know the type of player Tomáš Souček is. 90 minutes, he's running at you, he's doing all the dirty job that anybody doesn't see, and they balance it with some new fresh talents who have gone under the radar, but on any day can hurt you. So yes, I think Mexico goes through, South Korea goes through, Czech Republic and South Korea could be battling for second and third, and I think one of those teams will come out as one of the top 8 third best teams.
Awesome. We need to bring you the fact file of all the countries, and all in Group A. We'll bring you the fact file. So we'll bring you the fact file of Mexico, and then South Korea, South Africa, and then Czech Republic. But before we do that, Eric, Wanda has settled on the countries that he believes that they will be able to make it out of Group A. Look at these 4 teams. From your perspective, which teams do you think that they'll be able to make it out of this group?
Well, predictions are always tough because you'd have to wait for teams to kick a ball and see the kind of side that they are bringing to the tournament. Tournaments are very, very funny in so many ways. But if I'm supposed to predict, I still think that because of past tournament and how we've seen some of the Asian countries compete at tournament, I would want to favor South Korea. And I say this because I believe that, like Wendell was saying, Czech can run the entire 90 minutes. I also think that South Korea can run the entire 90 minutes and even more. We've seen Asian countries that have come to tournament where you don't expect them to beat teams, but they go on and then they will beat teams.
Right.
We saw in the last tournament when Germany, I think, suffered a defeat to Japan.
Yeah.
It does happen. They usually wouldn't present a roster of stars, but there are key players in there who can cause you surprises. Mexico, yes, host nation. This is the third time they are hosting the World Cup, but only the first time that they are doing so as co-host. You expect that because they are hosting or because they are co-hosting, they will have that determination to win the group and then advance to the knockout stage. But I think that is going to be difficult. In the times past, we've seen them have very good players, where in various departments of their game, you can't mention players that can walk into any other national team and start games for them. I don't think they have that crop of players at the moment. Yes, they have some of the best players who are playing for some of the good teams out there in Europe, but I think it's going to be difficult. I think that South Korea, because of the engine that the Asian national teams would always present that tournament, I would want to stick my neck out and say that I expect that South Korea would win that group. It won't be very beautiful. I think that they will play rusty. They will try to frustrate opponents. They will try and stay in games as long as they can and then take their moments. I'm not sure they are going to win games by 3-0 and all those kind of things, but they will defend well, they will frustrate you, they will run at you, get their goals, defend well, and then pick enough points to ensure that they top that group. And then again, you would want to give Mexico that edge to ensure that because they are co-hosting, the fans behind them, they will have that extra energy to ensure that they finish maybe in second. For Czechia, you don't really know because they have a checkered history, if I could put it that way.
Right.
When they played as Czechoslovakia in the past, they were always a formidable force. I think on 2 different occasions they finished that runners up, which meant that when they were playing as Czechoslovakia, maybe they had extra energy where they could play and then they were better. Yeah. They changed their name to Czech Republic all of a sudden. They can't compete with the big boys anymore. Now they've gone back to the drawing board. They say they are changing their names again. They are going back to Czechia. We don't know the kind of national team that they are going to present, whether they are going to give us a feel of the Czechoslovakia days or they are still going to come back to Czech Republic, the side that the Black Stars were able to beat, even though they had a huge advantage in terms of the FIFA ranking. So it's a different ball game altogether. Like I said, they need to kick a ball. We need to see the kind of national teams that they are bringing on board. But if I'm choosing my top 2, I think that South Korea and Mexico go through the group for me.
Right. So there you have it. I mean, Mike, can you settle on the teams that you think that will be able to make it out of this group, and then we'll bring out the facts file of this from Group A.
The guys have had their say, but I want us to also realize that all 4 teams are in a period of transition,
right? And
all their star men are 30 plus over. So then it means that
you mean all the 4.
Yeah, Mexico fielded a fully local team against the Black Stars in their recent friendly, and they won 2-0. When you go to Czech Republic, Tomáš Souček is aging. I don't think so far it's on the plane, but I don't think he will play a lot of games. They fielded a lot of local players, and they are fielding a lot of young players who are in other leagues in Europe who are trying to break into first teams. And then you come to South Korea. Song Heung-min he's been playing the MLS for some time now. Kang has not been playing for PSG as much as you want, and so he's a bit rusty. The defender Lee Min-jae, who is also at Napoli, he has not been playing. He has not played this season. I don't think he has played or started 10 games this season. So it means that all 4 teams are in a period where they are in a transition, and that brings an unpredictability around the group. It will most probably come down to who scores more goals. If you look across all the 4 teams, the only potent striker they have is Czechia, which is Patrick Schick. So then it means that, like what Wendell is saying, if Czechia is able to run and being able to feed Patrick Schick well, Patrick Schick, we saw him at the I think 2016 or 2020 Euros. He was top scorer or second top scorer. So if they're able to feed him well with Tomáš Souček, who definitely at Czechia he plays in the number 10 role because of his experience. So if they're able to feed him well, then it means that more goals will come. then it means that Czechia will have an advantage. So I think that South Korea, in a period where, of course, I've said that they are trying to bring in the European style of play, embed it with their style of play. So then it means that they will be a bit unsure of what to do. I don't think South Korea will go to. I think Czechia have an advantage there, and Mexico with the home advantage. And what I saw them do against Ghana, I think they are right up there. Mexico too. They have Kevin Lozano, who is now playing in Tigres. I think he's in Mexico now. Yeah. He has also dipped a bit, and then their goalkeeper, who they decided to take along, got injured. So then they had to go and fall back on Guillermo Ochoa. Ochoa is not very good in decisive moments. He's a bit disadvantaged with his arms. So sometimes when he outstretched, he doesn't really get the ball.
Yeah.
So then it means that they are going to concede a lot. Edson Alvarez who is their captain, or who was supposed to be their captain before Ochoa stepped in, has not also played a lot of games, I think, at Fenerbahce. So there's a whole lot of uncertainty around the top four. But I think Mexico will go through, and then Czechia, then maybe South Korea can make a best third place.
Right. So the guys haven't their say on which teams or countries they think that will be able to make it to the next round of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Let's bring you the facts file. Let's begin with Mexico, because they are the host country. So Mexico, the capital is Mexico City, a population of 130 million, and a nickname we call them El Tri. The confederation, they are in the CONCACAF, and then continent is North America. Still with Mexico, this is the country profile, just to bring you up to date on what you need to know. So let's bring you the head coach, the players to watch out for in terms of Mexico, still with them, and then from there we'll move to other countries and bring you their fact file. Mexico, Javier Aguirre, he's head coach going into this tournament, there you have it. Mexico, they are head coach. Let's bring you some of the players that you'll be able to be watching or be hoping that they excel going into this tournament. So now we have the head coach of Mexico. We'll move on quickly and bring you some of the players that we will be hoping to watch or hoping that they excel. Okay, so having like what Michael said, Lozano, key player to watch in this Mexico side. Very, very an integral player for the Mexican national team coming into this tournament. There you have it. If there are any other thing that we need to bring on, let's roll straight, and we'll bring you more. As like we said, Guillermo Ochoa, like Michael touched on, he had a very late call up, and like what Michael said, he's in there, but he has his own deficiencies. His height sometimes is a problem, but I think that he's a very, very good goalkeeper. He's a legend going into this tournament, with Mexico being part of the nations that will be co-hosting this tournament. Edson Alvarez, also the former West Ham player, now plays in Turkey, is also a player that you can keep an eye on going into this tournament. Let's quickly move on from Mexico, and let's bring you the facts file of South Africa, who will be representing Africa. Remember, Africa has 10 countries playing in this expanded tournament in North Africa. So let's bring you the facts file of South Africa, whom they left the country. They left for their camping base, or they left South Africa yesterday, capital Pretoria or Cape Town, and their population, they have 60 million. Bafana is their nickname. Their confederation is CAF, and their continent is Africa. And so they have it, their country profile. Let's bring you the coaches and the players, the coach and then the players to watch out for when it comes to South Africa. The head coach is Hugo Broos, the Belgian. He has been there for quite some number of time or years now. Hugo Broos will be leading the Bafana to the World Cup for the first time since 2010. And let's bring you some of the players that you can watch out from the camp of South Africa. Lil Foster of Burnley, remember, he played. He's a Burnley player. Unfortunately, they suffered relegation to the English Championship, and so Foster will be hoping to have a very good tournament. We saw what he could do when during the AFCON, and so Lee Foster will be leading the side. And let's bring you some more players to watch out for in terms of Bafana Bafana. And then we have Ronwen Williams, Mamelodi Sundowns goalkeeper. We saw him save a penalty against AS FAR in the CAF Champions League final. Remember, he's the escaper of the side, and so he will be also be hoping to contribute his bit to help the South Africa go past the group phase of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Let's move from South Africa and let's talk about Czech Republic or Czechia. Wandel and then Mike and the rest of the guys, they have been able to bring out some of the best players that we can look out for in terms of Czech Republic. But quickly, this is the facts file. Prague is their capital. Population of 10.8 million, nicknamed the Lions. UEFA, they are in their confederation, and then continent is Europe. That's where Czechia or Czech Republic. That's a country profile for Czech Republic. Let's bring you some of the head coach first, and then we'll bring you some of the players that you will be watching out for heading into this tournament. Ivan Hesek is their head coach, or Ivan Hesek is their head coach going into this tournament. Let's bring you some of the players that you'll be looking out for in this particular tournament. Pavel Sulic, he will be Pavel Sulic is one of the players that you can keep an eye on, or one of the key players coming into this tournament from Czechia or Czech Republic. One of their key players that I need to keep an eye on. Other players that we need to also be keeping an eye on will come up very shortly. Whilst so Thomas Suchek, like what Eric touched on, Mike touched on, and then Wandel touched on, is going to be a very key player. Remember, unfortunately, his team also got relegated. That is West Ham, but Czechia or Czech Republic will be counting on him to help them go past the group phase. Now let's quickly bring you the facts file or the country profile of South Korea, the fourth country in Group A, and then Seoul is their capital, and then 52 million, and then their nickname is Taeguk Warriors, and then they are from the AFC, and then continent is Asia. That is a country file of the South Korea. I'll bring you some of their head coach and then some of the players that we need to keep an eye on. Hong Myung-bo is their head coach. He will be leading them to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Let's bring you some of the players that you can watch out going into this tournament. And we know that Son is in. Okay, Lee he will be in there. We know that definitely. I'm not sure if Son is going to feature on this list. The PSG guy too. Okay, so this is the PSG guy. Okay, he plays for PSG, and then we'll bring you some more players that to look out for. Okay, so we know that Son Heung-min is also featuring on this next. That is South Korea. This is Group A. Quickly, let's switch attention to Group B, and let's run you through the teams that are in Group B in terms of the Group B, and then the guys will have their say when it comes to Group B. To run you through Group B, we know that Switzerland is in there in Group B. In Group B, yes, like we know, we have Switzerland, we have Canada, Qatar, and then Bosnia and Herzegovina in that particular group. In this time around, I'll begin with Mike, and Mike will also bring us the facts file of the countries. But first of all, let's deal with the countries. Now we have Canada in there, we have Qatar in there, Bosnia in there, and we have Switzerland in this particular Group B as well. Mike, to begin with you, that's an interesting group as well, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very interesting group. I like this group because this is a group where we have Switzerland, we have Canada, and these are two countries who over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years made it a mission to develop their football and send talents outside their countries into Europe to learn the trade and apply the trade, and at some point some players were being sponsored to go on trips outside the country. Like a better example for Canada will be with Alfonso Davis. When you look at Switzerland, they have Dan Ndoye. They have a lot of talent. So I think this group is all. And when you look at Qatar in the past, maybe since they hosted the World Cup, they've brought about talents. That there's one guy in the Afif who he's called a Qatarian Messi, and he's being given a whole lot of names.
But there's an interesting thing about Qatar. You know, there's a Ghanaian in there.
Yeah. So that's basically what it is. I think the group is poised to be very, very, very challenging. And then of course Bosnia and Herzegovina, who pipped Italy to qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah.
They have Dzeko, whose story is very inspiring, who is supposed to have retired by now, 42 years or 40 years. He's still playing on. And they have one of the youngest, or probably the youngest players who will be going to the World Cup. He's, I think, 17 or 19. So this group is poised, but of course it's a very, very interesting group, and I think I like the look of the group. Of course, if you look at the season, some of them have also had. We can talk about that later in the discussion, but then again, it's a very interesting and nice group.
Right. I mean, Eric, you go back to Qatar when we hosted it. They were able to move out from their group phase or qualify for the next round, but unfortunately, they were not able to qualify for the next round. You look at the teams that they find themselves among in Group B. I mean, if we are to assess their chances of making it to the next round, do they really, realistically, do you think they have a chance?
Realistically, no. Especially if you look at their history as well. I mean, if you look at some of the teams that they are going to play against, some of them have played in the World Cup for a long time. Some of them, like Switzerland, for instance, they've been at the World Cup. This will be their 13th appearance. It means they have that history. The last time they were there at the World Cup, we saw what they could do.
Yeah.
They had Xherdan Shaqiri, who was a menace for every opponent that they faced. So for a team that has played at the World Cup for 13 times, it's always going to be difficult for you when you are coming up against them. Qatar, we saw them in the last World Cup. It was their first time that they were playing at the World Cup. They were able to do so because they were a host. We saw them at that tournament. Yes, there were moments where you felt they had a good team, but they couldn't win any game. They only scored one goal. It was scored by a Ghanaian, our own Muntari. Mohamed Muntari was able to get that goal for them. So they will be chasing their first ever win at the World Cup at the 2026 edition. I think that is going to be difficult because of the opposition that they are coming up against. Yes, Canada do not have rich history when it comes to the World Cup, but you expect that at the host and with the fans behind them, they are also going to be a difficult side to play against. So I mean, if you look at the group like Michael said, it's an interesting group because if you compare the opponents in the group, it's only Switzerland who has very rich history in the World Cup. Even so, they've not really been very, very good when it comes to the knockout stage of the competition. So it's up there for them to take it. I think that Switzerland should win the group. Canada will have a good say because they are host nation, and like Michael said once again, they have very, very good players. Individually, they are very good players. They have Jonathan David, who has played in Europe for quite some time now. He recently broke their record for all-time top goal scorer. I mean, for a player who has proven himself to be a good goal scorer in Europe, if you have him in your team, you should be comfortable. And if they are going to be able to create the chances for him, then definitely Canada should be able to score a few goals for them to earn enough points to also advance from the group. But it's going to be tough. If the question is whether Qatar will be able to advance from the group, I still think that if you look at how they progressed from 2022 when they hosted the tournament, they've not really done enough for me to say they will advance from the group. Right. So I don't see them, and I don't see how they will be able to advance from the group.
Okay, but interestingly, before you go on, interestingly, Qatar are coached by William Lopetegui. And you know how Lopetegui is.
No problem. Wassan, it's something we saw him.
That's how you put it. Michael never said anything like that.
But I mean, for surprisingly, I've never trusted Lopetegui. Not when he was at West Ham. Not when he was at Real Madrid. Not everywhere that he's been. I've never trusted him. Surprisingly,
I think for Lopetegui, his only duration of doing well with a team because of how he trains. It's like a year. So I don't know how long he's been. I think he's been with them since last 2 years, December or so. So that means he's in that span where the team is about to go past. So we will see.
That's fine. So I mean, Eric. So it means that if Switzerland finish on top, and he said Canada, between Qatar and then Bosnia, who joins them? In terms, if there could be possibly a best third place team, who joins these two countries?
I mean, if you want to compare the different eras, then definitely Bosnia also will want to rely on history, because they were part of the Yugoslavia team that competed in 8 consecutive World Cups in the past before they changed to Bosnia, where they are now making their second appearance as Bosnia.
Right.
You would want to tip them to, I mean, finish third because of the history.
Okay.
And Edin Dzeko, we know, is part of this team. If he's able to, he's now a veteran, literally. You don't expect that he's the same Dzeko, but if you have him in the team, he's always going to be a threat because of the area presence.
I saw a headline where when they named their squad, and then the caption was that 40-year Edin Dzeko makes 2026 FIFA World Cup squad. Interesting. I mean, still with Group B, and then after that we run you through the facts file. But remember, the show is interactive, and so you can join us with your thoughts, your comments, and your expectations as well. Our text lines will be displayed on your screens. You are watching the Football Wave here on WoezorTV. This is part of our build-up to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. I mean, Wendell, Michael and Eric seems to be in the same agreement, but in an earlier statement that Michael made, don't forget, Bosnia stopped Italy from playing at the World Cup, and Italy for now, for the 3rd successive time, will not play at the World Cup. This is a team that we need to keep an eye on, because they are underdogs. You don't know what you are going, you don't know how they will come up. They can surprise you at any time. So this is a team that can pull up a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah. As you've said, when you look at their qualifying fees in the knockout stages to get to the World Cup, they actually beat a Hungarian side that was poised to get in, and the Hungarian side led the game
virtually
the whole game, and then within in stoppage time, Dzeko comes and then gets them the equalizer, and they go to penalties, and you have their goalkeeper Vasil pull up a surprise and get them through to go play Italy.
Right.
And one thing you notice about that Bosnia-Herzegovina team is they literally give you less joy to play against them, and they almost always stay in the game.
They suffocate
you. They suffocate you, and they stay in the game hoping to get that one chance, and they literally don't miss that one chance, because it happened against Italy. They sat back, soaked all the pressure, and then at the dying moments, a goal comes up. One thing we are not also seeing is this is a team that, irrespective of having Dzeko in there or not, there's Demirovic also in there, who could also hurt you in games. So this team is probably positioned to take a lot of teams by surprise in this particular group. Of course, Canada is coming in with
and not to catch you, remember Canada, they are one of the co-host countries. Just to put our audience and viewers in a proper perspective, Canada is one of the countries who will be hosting the World Cup. One
thing that goes actually for Canada is Jesse Marsh, who is the manager they are bringing in. He's a very good tactician. We know from the Red Bull
to Leeds United.
So I mean, he's actually their wild card, because when you look at the crop of players that they have, they don't really have a solid midfield to go battle against some of Switzerland and even Bosnia. But they have Jonathan David and they have Alphonso Davies. It depends on, I don't know how much is going to position Alphonso Davies in this tournament, but even though it looks like they're the hosts, I think Bosnia has a surprise in them to actually come second in this particular group.
I see.
Behind Switzerland.
Okay, so I'm still with you. So which teams qualify from this particular group for you?
For me, I think Switzerland first.
Okay, Switzerland.
Bosnia second.
Bosnia.
Yeah.
You don't think the co-hosts will be able to make it out?
There's so much your fans can do for you, but I think when your team doesn't have certain key players in certain pivotal positions, it's quite difficult to put up a performance, because you don't show up at the World Cup with a midfield that cannot compete or that cannot battle it out with others, because you know it's a knockout tournament, and if your midfield is weak, you'll be exposed.
Great. I mean, Mike, 30 seconds. Settle on the team that you think will be able to make it.
Like Wendell is saying, if he's speaking about Canada and what their midfield or their defense. I think for Canada, their only problem might be their defense and maybe their goalkeeping department. Canada have a very good midfield. They have a very good attacking midfielder in Tejo Buchanan. They have a very strong one with African roots. I think he's called Ismail Kone or something. He plays at Lille also. So I think there's, like he also admitted, there's so much that home advantage can do for you, and I think Canada would just edge it to be second, and then Bosnia third, and then Switzerland will take the group.
Nobody is expecting Qatar to make it to the next round. That's interesting. You're watching the maiden edition of the Football Wave here on WoezorTV. My name is Samuel Ape, and I'm in studio with Michael Gogo, Eric Kwafo, and then Wandel Amo. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back, and then we zoom into other group and bring you what to expect. Stay with us. When we are back, we'll read your messages as well.
Esan se menti tu mamamra se na me pese mamamra be yerenti me di biara Ghana na me num biara so Ghana se ba no afa hye ne apunto biara se dia me di dem ho adiara ne officer bites na huso dedi wo dia obehwie biara mu occasion biara ya mamra dedi wo mu no de e kire yensu e wo afa hye eye ni apunto ase de obetimi di officer bites asum wo ahoho unumu a e koyo Officer Bites made in Ghana. So open a dudu to our first Stepos Enterprise hometrum for iso. Officer Bites, who ye guy. Officer Bites be a guy wati. Numnya semu won tomba nipa wondi infie du watwe. And sasa apen for ne abata woman kodano for enumbi. Num ensan fan kaka. FDA aje gwedi enkrato ya tum.
Your flight is ready to leave.
Sit back and relax and enjoy the flight.
When I saw his face slipping, I knew it was a stroke. I called an ambulance immediately to save the life we've built together.
The way her arm was hanging down wasn't right. I insisted to go straight to the hospital to save our mother and the family.
The way he was talking when the ambulance arrived alerted us. I rang ahead so the hospital staff were ready to save precious time and the future.
You're still watching the Football Wave here on WoezorTV, and my name is Samuel Apia. And just gone by, we discussed Group B. But before we proceed to Group C, I mean, Michael will bring us the facts file, of all the countries that will be playing in Group B. And so we'll bring you the facts file or the profile of the countries shortly. And so Michael will do that for you, but let's do the profile of the countries from Group B, and then we can quickly zoom straight to Group C very shortly. We'll bring you those details very shortly on your screens. But as we await for the facts file, let's shift focus and let's do Group C, because Group C too, there are some interesting conversation there, because in Group C we have Brazil in there, we have Morocco in there, we have Haiti in there, and we also have another interesting country in Group C as well, and then we have Scotland as well. So Group C is such an interesting group. This is Group C on your screen. We have Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and then Haiti. These are the groups that are these are the teams that are in Group C. Let's begin from the middle. If the facts file of Group B are ready, we'll get it and then we'll run you through very quickly. But whilst we are waiting for that, let's stick to Group C. Let me begin from Eric. Eric, I think when this group was made, the day that we did the live coverage, everybody is expecting the game between Morocco and Brazil because of the exploits. Okay, so Mike, let's quickly do the profile of from Group A. From Group B. B, yes.
Yeah.
So run us through.
So we begin with Switzerland. Group B.
Yeah.
So Group B is Switzerland, Qatar, Canada, and Bosnia and Herzegovina, right?
Yeah.
So Switzerland, their best finish was in the quarterfinal in 1934, 38, 54. They've been there for 12 times. This will be their 13th time. They were the last World Cup. They weren't there in the 1990s, but their World Cup history, their first appearance was in 1934. Their best tournament was in 54 as hosts. They were in the quarterfinal. They've been there consistently ever since then. They were very disappointing in the last edition as they lost 6-1, and then their knockout record, like we said, 2022 quarterfinal exits, and 2018 they exited in round of 32. Their all-time scorer is Alexander Fry. If you remember him, if you've been watching the Champions League for long, you will know Alexander Fry. And then their qualification, they qualified through Europe. They were group winners. In fact, they were unbeaten in their group, and they kept a clean sheet against Romania in a very decisive final match. Their most capped player is Heinz Hermann. He has 117 caps, and one of their players to watch is Manuel Akanji, and Granit Xhaka. There's Dan Ndoye. I think Granit Xhaka is their captain. Their coach is Murat Yakin, the famous Murat Yakin. He was a goalkeeper for them, and so that's it. Their captain is Granit Xhaka. So that's it for Switzerland, and then we move to Qatar. Their best group stage finish was in 2022. Their best finish was in the group stage 2022. They've had only 2 appearances, and this will be their last appearance, like we said, was when they hosted in 2022, and they've never been there till 2022. Their top scorer is Hassan Al-Haidos. And then they qualified through the AFC third round. They qualified from the group. They topped the group, the mini group, and they've improved since then. They are key player to watch. I spoke about it.
Yeah.
Akram Afif, and then they have Almoez Ali, and then they are coached by Julian Lopetegui. Their country, their capital is Doha. They have a 2.9 million population. Their nickname is Al Anabi the Maroon. They are from the Asian Federation. Their captain is Hassan Al Haidos. And then we move to Canada. So Canada, their capital is Sarajevo. They have a 3.2 million population. So they are from North America. Their captain is Alfonso Davis. Their coach, as we mentioned, is Jesse Marsh. They have Alfonso Davis as a key player toward Jonathan David. Like Eric was saying, he just recently broke their top scorer record. And they have someone I mentioned their name, Tejon Buchanan. And they have Atiba Hutchinson. He is a player with their most caps. If you've been watching football, Turkish football a lot, he's been at Besiktas for such a long time, Atiba Hutchinson. And then they qualified as automatic qualification as automatic co-host, and they've qualified via that. And their top scorer is Kyle Larin. If you watch European football a lot, Kyle Larin is now at Southampton, and he scored 26 goals for them. Their World Cup history, their first appearance was in 1986. They exited the group stage then with no goals and no points. Their best tournament was in 2022, which they had their first World Cup win in 36 years. Their most disappointing was, like we've already said, 1986, no goals, no points, and they've had no knockout stage appearance. They do not have any World Cup title. Their best finish was a group stage, or their best was the group stage in 1986, and in 2022 they were also one of the best in their group. So they've not been there. After 1986, they've not been there till 2022. So that there you have it for Canada. Then we move on to Bosnia and Herzegovina. They have a population of 3.2 million, and they qualify from the Europe. Their captain is Edin Dzeko. Their coach is Sergej Barbares. Edin Dzeko and Emedin Demirovic. Demirovic is one of my favorite strikers to watch. Ahmed Dedic is also somebody who has grown with this team a lot. I think he was at the last 2 editions of the World Cup. Dzeko is their most capped player with 130 caps. So they qualified using the UEFA qualifying stage, and then the Nations League playoff, where, like we've said, they qualified over Italy and they defeated Italy. The all-time national record for goals is Edin Dzeko, of course, 65 goals. They made their debut in 2014, and then they exited the group stage then, and then they've been there since. They have no title. They've appeared 2 times. Their last appearance was in 2014. So yeah, there you have it for our group in Group B.
Right, Mike, thanks very much. But like I said, we are with Group B, and I touched on very briefly. We'll have Group C, the teams in Group C that come on your screen very shortly. But like I touched on, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and then Scotland are all in Group C. And I was asking Eric, when this group, or when the draw was conducted and we saw this group, everybody said that perhaps in the group phase, the match of the group phase is going to be between Brazil and then Mexico because of because of Morocco's heroics in the last edition of the tournament in Qatar. I mean, the other guys, I want other guys to touch on other countries, but to you specifically, what do you think? Because we've seen the squad being paraded by Mohamed Wabi, the head coach of Morocco, and it looks like a lot of experienced players have been left out, and they go into this tournament with a huge expectation, looking at what they did in Qatar and in the AFCON. Of course, currently they are champions according to CAF until we all await the CAF's decision. I mean, what are you expecting from Morocco? Because it looks like most of the experienced players have been left out. New faces in there, fresh blood, fresh legs going into this tournament. Where do you see them? Going in. Do you think this could be their best tournament?
Well, that's difficult. If you are able to reach the semi-finals of the last edition, it's very difficult to top that, and it's going to be difficult for them. Yes, they go into the tournament full of confidence because just about 1,257 days ago, where the World Cup final for the 2022 edition was held, they felt that tournament, they did so well, and they will feel that it's not been that long. Maybe you can say it's been 4 years. 4 years can be long, but it's not been that long. And during that period as well, look at what they've been able to do. They've hosted so many tournaments. They've played at the AFCON. They reached the final, like you said, which is currently a controversy that we are waiting to bring a finality to that issue.
Yeah. You
look at in the last few years as well, they've been able to convince a number of diaspora players to also come and then play for them.
Yeah.
If you look at one player, Ayub Boudadi, who was being called by France to come and play for them, but Morocco was able to convince them because there is something for them to show that we can bring you here and you will be able to play.
The fact is, France didn't take him to the World Cup, so he has to be.
Well, the opportunity could have still been there. And it's just one of those things that they have been able to do to ensure that consistently they will have a very good team to compete at any tournaments. It's going to be difficult for me. For one, I don't think that they will be able to match up to that semi-final achievement that they were able to achieve at the last edition of the World Cup. Like you said, some of the players that helped them to reach that feat have been dropped from the current squad that they are taking to the World Cup, and it's because some of the players have aged. Some of the players have not been at their best in the past year. In the last tournament, some of the players didn't show up. And then another key thing is the fact that they've changed managers. They've now brought in Mohamed Wabi, who was head coach for the under-20 side. Yes, he may have shown that he's a good manager because he led Morocco to win the Under-20 World Cup. But it's going to be very difficult. He's coming. He's now trying to, bring his philosophy. He's not, definitely, they are not going to play their way like they played under Wale Regragui. It's going to be a different ball game altogether. Sure. But you have to give it to them because they still have that talent pool, because they still have been able to compete at the very top level. And we saw it at the AFCON. They always want to attack. They always want to dictate play. They always want to dominate possession. And I think that they have the players to do it. They have one of the best goalkeepers in world football in Yassine Bono. And if he's going to be in post for them, and if the likes of Nayef Aged, Ashraf Hakimi are still going to be in the team, and if they are also going to try and then bring in some of the new players that they've been able to convince from the diaspora to also come and then augment the team, I think that they will still be able to be very competitive against any of the sides that they will play against at the World Cup. But I don't think they would have it in them to make another semi-final appearance, especially when they are coming up against Brazil. I think that they will struggle in the group. I think you still have to fancy them to finish second in the group, because if you watch the history of Scotland, they've never made it past the group stage. They are being managed by Steve Clarke. I think that in his generation in Scotland, he's one of their best managers in their history. But I don't think that in terms of tactics, in terms of achievement, he's been able to do something extraordinary that would make me say that whilst he handles Scotland for this World Cup, he's going to be the first manager to ensure that they advance past the group stage. You also have them, Morocco, coming up against Haiti. This will be Haiti's second World Cup in their history. In the last edition, they also couldn't go past the group stage. If you were still going to go by the old way where 32 national teams were going to play at the World Cup, I don't think Haiti would have been at the World Cup. So I don't think they have enough quality to also be a worry to Morocco. I expect that Morocco will be able to win enough games or amass enough points to ensure that at least they go past the group stage. But like I said in my initial submission, I don't see how they are able to top up that semi-final finish from the 2022 edition.
Interesting remarks from Eric. Let's see how it goes. Now, Carlo Ancelotti is my man, but what he did, Charlie, Chelsea, I don't even know. Guys, I'm not saying anything. I'm only saying that Carlo used to be my man, but what he did or what he's done, Charlie. But anyway, Wendell, look at Carlo Ancelotti and when he took over this Brazil national team. Even while he was at Real Madrid, I think a year before his appointment, the rumors was all over the place. He went there, you could see what he wanted to do. They started very well. They lost 1 or 2 games, but it looks like he has been able to steady the ship. The only controversy has to do with player selection. How does Carlo Ancelotti and this Brazil national team go to this tournament and prove all their critics wrong? Because if it doesn't go well, people will start to raise questions. So, we saw them in the last edition of the World Cup, and it didn't really go well, and people believe that this should be their chance, this should be their time, because some of their players are scoring for fun in Europe. There are players everywhere, Saudi everywhere. So how do you think Carlo Ancelotti and this Brazil national team should approach this one? Because like I said earlier, if it doesn't go well, the narrative will be about his selection and his decision, especially when he met the press. So how should they go about it going into this tournament in particular?
If there's one coach you expect to do well in a tournament, it's Carlo Ancelotti. Irrespective of how league games that he oversees goes, when it comes to tournaments, he's the best person you can put to handle a team. You look at his days from AC Milan, Madrid, and how they strode past the Champions League to get the title. He's the best manager to go into these tournaments, one-off games, and get you the results. Then we talk about the team selection. Many have clamored for Joao Pedro, but you look at even the type of profiles that are needed in that Brazil team, and I was even thinking Richarlison was a far better fit even in there, because that guy is the type of guy you want in a tournament. He's very spontaneous. He just shows up when yes. He's like Chicharito. Just when you want your striker to do something, that is when he steps up and does something. And he's really an ugly player to have in those type of situations, because he rouses defenders up. And this is a one-off game. You don't have the chance to amend your wrongs. This is the type of guy I would have wanted to be in there. But then again, we know the type of pedigree Carlo Ancelotti has, or he brings to the table, and what we can do is to trust what he has brought to the table in terms of his lineup.
Right.
When you look at the side that has been called in 26-man squad, you see a coach that is going for experience over trying new things. Because even when you look at his Madrid team that won the Champions League, it was more about experience players. He doesn't take risks, because it wouldn't make sense to go bring Fabinho back from Saudi. He has Casemiro in there, and it just shows you that he knows the job at hand, and he has decided to trust generals who have experience playing at the World Cup, because it will come up handy. And when you look at how their group is set up, it's going to be an easy way out of the group. Now, when they come out of that group, they're going to either face US, Turkey, and some other weak teams. So that just goes to show that even his group stage and round of 32 could be a done deal. Now they should be focusing on R16 to the finals, and it could be the Arsenal route to the Champions League final. Right. It could be possibly. They could have such a run and find themselves.
Now there's a team as an Arsenal route.
Shots fired.
They could find themselves in the final by going through such teams. And if you look at it, we have Neymar in there who could come in.
Before you continue, Neymar has been confirmed.
Yes, he has been confirmed injured.
2 to 3 weeks.
Yes, and now we are looking at what could possibly happen. I know people will be clamoring for Joao Pedro, but I just know Carlo Ancelotti is very cheeky. Something else, some other player could come up.
Of course,
So I think Brazil has the edge in this group. You look at Morocco, and now we don't know the type of Morocco that's going to show up. Should be told, because this is a new coach coming in. We don't even know what he's coming to do, and I mean, some of his call-ups have even been controversial, because you have Roman Saiz out,
and he picked Issa Diop.
You have Hakim Ziyech out. So you just see we don't know. He's not someone we have known on the national team stage. Yes, under 20, but then under 20 managing younger youth side, it's a different ball game, because then Desmond Ofe comes to mind. I'm not actually saying he's a bad manager. All I'm saying is it's a different ball game, and you need some level of pedigree and experience to perform on that stage. So we just have to watch and see how the first game against Brazil goes. But then again, this is a tournament. You miss 3 points in the first game and you find yourself under pressure. Then you give confidence to the smaller teams in that group, because Scotland will feed off it and try to come for a draw. By the time you realize you are in a position that's
a very difficult situation,
you cannot be saved.
Right. So, but I mean, still with you, I'll let Michael address Scotland and their chances. They had a very interesting run qualifying to the tournament, but which team makes it out of this group? You have already touched on Brazil.
I think Brazil tops the group. We have Morocco coming in second. Scotland. I just don't know the type of Scotland. I don't think Scotland has what it takes to actually go through. They should actually be happy they are at the World Cup, and that is enough achievement for them.
If you have John McGinn there, Billy Gilmore, and the Napoli guy,
Scott McTominay. They have Robertson.
Exactly.
But is that enough?
Anyway,
against a Morocco, this star-studded Morocco team, and even Brazil? That's another question.
This is where it leads me to Mike. Mike, Wandel believes that regardless of the players that they have in their sleeves, some of them playing in major European teams. We saw them again just led Aston Villa to clinch their first European title in 41 years. You know, beating SC Freiburg to lift the Europa League. And then they have Billy Gilmore. He has been sensational in his first 2 seasons at Napoli. We've seen Billy Gilmore growing up in the Chelsea setup, won the Champions League, went to Napoli and Conte, and then won the Italian Serie A as well. I mean, Wendell touched on Robertson. They have some very good players. And Eric touched on Steve Clark. So, I mean, you expect them to pull up a surprise, but I mean, Wendell says, hey, no, he doesn't think that they'll be able to do that. I mean, where do you see them? Do you think they are underdogs in this team? I mean, this group.
Yeah, I actually have them as one of my dark horses for the tournament. I'm saying this because this group has stayed together for a long time, and when you speak about national team football, being together for a long time is one very good advantage you can have. The second reason I'm saying this is this season they've had one of the most potent strikers in England, in the whole England, who is Lawrence Shankland, who plays for Hearts. And one of their problem for the past 3 years has been striker to get the goals. So at some point throughout the qualifiers, they were playing Scott McTominay as a false 9. And with the discovery of Lawrence Shankland and Scott McTominay's prowess, now learning the number 10 trade under Antonio Conte and alongside Kevin De Bruyne, I think Scotland have something up their sleeve. If you look at the players that they have now, what the plan for Steve Clark will clearly be to have a very solid midfield. I'm sure he's going to play a 3-back system where he's going to pack the midfield with midfielders who will be able to win the ball and who will be. In fact, they have Ryan Christie at some points in the Premier League. Ryan Christie was the one who covered the most ground. So it shows you what he has at his disposal. So he has certain tools that he wants to use, and those tools, if he's able to use them well, look, I don't know who their first game is, but if they're able to draw or win that first game, if it's Brazil, maybe dicey. But if they have Morocco, who, like we've all said, will not be in this tournament as brilliant as they were in the last one, then it means that they have a chance. Haiti is just so then you take your solid 1-0 or 2-0 win over Haiti, then you start moving into areas against Morocco. You can decide that, okay, I want this draw. You pick the draw, and then for Brazil, just frustrate them. Maybe you end up with a 1-0 or 2-0. Then you are best third place, and then you are moving on. So I think for them, they have one of the best players in Europe now in Scott McTominay. They will try to build everything around McTominay. I hope that he doesn't make the mistake of playing McTominay as a number 9, because now they have Lawrence Shankland. Let Shankland be up there, be the nuisance that he has always been for Hearts this season. It's quite unfortunate Hearts didn't win the Scottish League. But if they are able to have Shankland in position, and then Scott McTominay behind, they have Billy Gilmore, Ryan Christie, and Kenny McLean, who is at Norwich, and he plays a very brilliant 3-back system. I think Scotland are in to surprise a lot of people at this World Cup tournament.
Okay, so staying with you, and then Eric will give me it seems that will think that will be this group. I mean, for instance, Mike, sorry. Teams to make it out from this group.
Obviously, Brazil to make it out of this group. And then I have Morocco as number 2, but watch Scotland. I'm really excited. I want to see what Scotland will do. I want to see what Steve Clark will do. If you watch him over the qualifiers, he's just been solid. I don't know who he's won 1-0, I think 3 or 4 times. And so he's just going to do that. Scotland might just finish second, and Morocco might qualify as best third place. But the order is there. Maybe Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland. But second and third in no particular order.
Interesting. Let me read these messages, and then we'll go for a commercial break, and we'll back to touch on Group D. Now, I never knew some of these World Cup records before tonight. Football Wave is both entertaining and educational. Greetings from Kumasi. I am Kweku, thank you very much. My name is Kofi, watching you from Dansuman, Accra. Every football fan in Ghana should be watching this right now. The football wave is building serious excitement for 2026. Kofi, thanks very much. My name is now watching from Labadi. Amazing show tonight. The historical facts and player discussions and have been brilliant. Big love to the team of WoezorTV. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Now, this one is from Musa. Football wave is making us feel closer to the World Cup already. Fantastic show on WoezorTV tonight. Musa from Moa. Musa, thanks very much. This one is from Joe. Excellent breakdown of the groups tonight. WoezorTV is setting the standard of football analysis in Ghana. You are watching from Cape Coast. Joe, thanks very much. We'll take a quick spin. We'll be back and we'll touch on Group D. Stay with us.
Can he tee up someone in red? And it goes to one.
Do not say! That's who goal is for. I got 5 Champions League. You want to know? I be the real goal. Chairman. I be the real goal. The left magician. The left magician.
Who is the good? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
No, that shift. You two the lie, eh? Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
Hey, you are lying. Ghana Jollof.
Are you idiot? Forget everybody. Yeah. My guy. Put some respect on the goat. On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama. Every year we give to you back. We are talking about PET. I want some Yadia face. Except be the goat, huh? My guy, he be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 and recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Gentlemen, I've got some bad news and some good news. Okay, the bad news is that your chances of getting prostate cancer are now just 7 to 1. In fact, prostate cancer is killing one man every single hour of the day in this country. Imagine that, one every hour of the day. But the good news is, we're forming a team to stop that clock. Men United. It's time men united together to fight prostate cancer, the way women have united against breast cancer. We need to get together and find a cure, as well as better ways to care for the 250,000 prostate cancer sufferers out there. Please, get on side and join us in the fight. Men United versus prostate cancer. We can win this.
The maiden edition of the Football Wave here on WoezorTV, and my name is Samuel Apia, and I'm doing this together with Wanda Lamo, Francis Kwafo, and then Michael Gogo. Before we switch attention to do Group D, let's bring you the fact file or the profile of the countries and the players to watch out for. Let's begin with Brazil because they are the team that everybody will be watching because of Carlo Ancelotti and his achievements as a coach, like the guys have touched on, from AC Milan to Chelsea to Real Madrid to at a point coaching Everton. Interesting. Capital is Brasilia, 215 million. the Salisao, as popularly known, Confederation. We know that they are from Common Ball, and then they are from South America. That is their continent where Brazil is coming from. Let's bring you the head coach and then some of the players to look out for. The head coach of Brazil, as we know, the legendary Carlo Ancelotti is their head coach. Some of the players to look out for in this tournament. Hendrik Felipe, Charlie. They said Hendrik is one of the players that we need to.
I say young player, Charlie.
Young player to watch. Joao Pedro, sit at home.
Fast.
And watch us.
Fast.
Behave yourself.
They say he's lacing his boot.
Oh, Boga, I'm saying he's lacing his boot.
Boots never lace you.
All right, so Hendrik of Real Madrid, he spent the second half of the season at Olympic Lyon, where he had a very, very good start. And so Hendrik is one of the players to keep an eye on going into this tournament. Let's bring you some more details from Group C. Let's review some players to watch out for. Okay, so Neymar Jr., like we know, interestingly, he is going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Remember the World Cup, we are just 3 weeks to kick the ball at the tournament. So hopefully before Brazil play their first game, Neymar will be fit. But then he's still a player that we need to keep an eye on, and that is Neymar Jr., formerly, and then of Barcelona, and the PSG, now plays for his darling club Santos. Rafael Diaz, as popularly known, Rafinha, it's one of the players that we need to keep an eye on as Barcelona. He's also in that Brazilian setup coming into this tournament. He's one of the best players that has had one of the, a very good season with Barcelona despite his injury situations. And one other players that we also need to keep an eye on is Vinicius Jr. of Real Madrid, going trophyless, but hopefully he will be able to steer this Brazil team to lift the World Cup this time around. And so that is the facts file or country profile of Brazil. Let's do Morocco. Morocco, like the guys have discussed, Morocco, their best performance came in 2022, and they became the first African country to play in the semi-finals of the history of the World Cup. They played the Rabat is their capital, 37 million population. The Lions of the Atlas, and then their confederation is CAF, and their continent is Africa, like we already know. So this is the country profile of Morocco. Let's bring you the head coach and some of the players to look out for. So Mohamed Wabi, like what Wandel touched on, Eric touched on, and Michael touched on, he led Morocco's U20 to win the FIFA World Cup, to become the second African country to do that last year. They defeated Argentina to lift that prestigious trophy. So Mohamed Wabi there in your shots. Let's bring you some of the players to watch out for going into this particular tournament. And Ashraf Hakimi of PSG, remember he's still their captain as well. He's one of the players that we have to keep an eye on going into this tournament. Bringing you some more players to keep an eye on in this Moroccan setup. Hopefully El Kabi, the guy who Ayub Kabi. He scored how many Sizaki in the AFCON? Bangers, bro, bangers. This guy, and I think that at the World Cup we need to keep an eye. There's something special about this guy. He comes off the bench and trow, like what Xabi Alonso will be doing next season. Substitution trow, Charlie. So El Kabi in the shots there. He is going to be a very key player for Mohamed Wabi's side. So let's bring you. Okay, so Brahim Diaz, unfortunately, he's the reason why Senegal is in cast now. If he should have scored that penalty, Morocco would have lifted the trophy without any argument. But then, beyond that, Brahim Diaz is going to be a very, very key player for Morocco going into this tournament as well. And so these are some of the players that we need to keep an eye on in this Moroccan setup. Let's bring you some the profile and the facts file from Scotland, the team that could be the dark horse in this particular group. And so let's bring you a profile of Scotland. Edinburgh, then they have a population of 5.5 million, and their nickname is the Terran Army, and they are from the Confederation is UEFA, and they are from Europe, and that is their country profile for Scotland. And we'll bring you the head coach, and then some of the players that you need to keep an eye on. Steve Clark, like all the guys have touched on. Steve Clark will be leading Scotland to the World Cup. He's an experienced manager, of course. And let's bring you some of the players that we need to keep an eye on in this Scottish side. Andrew Robertson, he will be joining Spurs this summer after spending 6 years or so at Liverpool. He'll be playing for Tottenham Hotspur next season. So Andy Robertson is going to be one of the players that we need to keep an eye on this Scottish side. Let's bring you some more players that we can keep an eye on going into this tournament. From Scotland, John McGinn of Aston Villa is also one player that we need to keep an eye on. Like I said, he led Aston Villa as a captain to win their first major European title, and so McGinn is going to be an integral player for Aston Villa going into this particular tournament in North America. Let's bring you some more players that we can keep an eye on, and Scott McTominay. Like the guys have all agreed, they can. Scott McTominay, formerly of Manchester United, now plays for Napoli. He's also one player that we need to keep an eye on going into this tournament. These are some of the key players that they can do the damage for Scotland. And talking about Haiti, it is not out of disrespect why we didn't touch on Haiti, but some of these countries, you know what to expect from them. But let's see what they have. Port Prince and capital, and then population 11.5 million. Their nickname is Legrendiers, and so that is all Grenadiers. I don't know if that is the right
Grenadier.
Grenadier. All right. Thanks for the correction. And then CONCACAF. They are also from North America. All right. So that is a country profile for Haiti. And Sebastian McGinn is their head coach. He'll be leading the side into this particular tournament. And let's bring you some players that maybe you might have no idea that they play for Haiti, but this particular tournament you are going to see them play. And first of all, we have
France Di Pierrot.
France Di Pierrot.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So France Di Pierrot. That's a French name.
Yeah. And
how come he's playing for Haiti?
Yeah, but the French colony.
The same way you have Dutch players parading themselves in Curacao. Same thing.
Yeah, Jagan look at there, you know.
Yeah. Interesting. Right. So that's why Pierrot is one of the players that you're going to keep an eye on going into this tournament. If there are any, okay, and there's another player, Mika Jerome. That's also one player that you need to keep an eye on.
He's in the MLS.
He's the MLS.
But they have a Premier League player.
They have a Premier League player.
Interesting.
Yeah. He plays for Wolves.
Wilson Isidore.
Sunderland. And they have another one too at Wolves.
Isidore.
Yeah. He only just switched recently.
I see.
Yeah. And they have another at Wolves. The young boy, Jan Rekna Bellegarde.
Yeah, I think he almost joined one of the teams during the January transfer.
He almost joined Everton.
Okay, so Isidore of Sunderland. Guys, I must admit, through all my research, I never came across this.
Wilson Isidore?
Isidore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's revealing. So these are some of the players that they will be hoping to do the damage for Haiti going into this tournament. Now we have some time remaining, and we'll spend it on the last group, which is Group D, and we can wrap up the show here on WoezorTV. Now let's head straight to Group D, and let's bring you the teams that are in Group D. We'll have the graphics very shortly on the screen. This is Group D. Another co-host, in fact, the country, the USA, are in this group. We have Turkey, Australia, and then Paraguay also in this particular group. Back to you, Mike.
Yeah.
A host country in there.
Yeah.
Turkey in there. Yeah. Australia in there. And then we have Paraguay.
Yeah, clearly, this group is going to be taken by Turkey. Vicente Montella coach team, it's a team that will guarantee that it will give you results, and that's what Montella does. A team that has Adagule, Hakan Chanaloglu, Burak Alpa, Kenan Yildiz. That team is stacked with talent. Over the past few years, I think Vicente Montella has come under great criticism that he's not been able to utilize the attacking talent that the Turkish Football Federation had. I think they missed out on the Euros also, and he came under heavy criticism that they almost sacked him. But I think the Turkish Football Federation kept faith in him, and they gave him another chance to prove himself. And if you look at their World Cup qualifiers, seemingly easy. They played some of their best football during that time, and then they qualified for the World Cup. So I think this group is poised to have Turkey win the group. I think one thing that we also see is that USA are not really as strong as we think they are. A team that is coached by Mauricio Pochettino, who also has come under a lot of criticism quite recently when he released his squad. There were concerns that he did not call those he left out to actually speak to them. He just published the list without speaking to them, that he didn't call them, and he had to defend himself. But I think there's a lot of pressure in that position, that what they call the US men's national team. There's a lot of pressure on Pochettino, and if you look at his record over the time he's been there, 3 or 4 years, they have struggled really. And this is a team that were hit by their lowest when they lost to Panama at home. The Panama that we have in our group that people are doing like they are easy like that. Panama went to US and scored USA. So if you put the US team 2 on paper, there's a lot of guesswork with that team, I feel. And then I feel like the focus of the US team is to glorify the MLS. So he speaks a lot of MLS players. Obviously, the US Federation themselves have not, like Canada has done, tried to project their players into Europe a lot, because they feel like they want to project the MLS as one of the best leagues in the world. I think we might see them shift from it after this World Cup, because US is a team that does a lot of deep soul searching. So yeah, that's basically what it is for them. For Paraguay, another growing team, but are very dangerous. Like I said with the Scottish team, this is a team that has stayed together for a very long time. They started this project 2 years ago, and they gathered a very young team who missed out on 2 tournaments. They missed out on the previous World Cup, they missed out on the Copa America, and this time they qualified for the World Cup outright. So this Paraguayan team may not be a team full of stars, but they are a team that has stayed together, that has built together, that has grown together. And any team like that is a very dangerous team. Yeah, so for me, it's quite refreshing to see. And for Australia, yes, we have Australia who have rich history at the World Cup. They've been to the World Cup for quite some time now, but then again, they are a team that are in transition. They've not been able to recover a player or bring forth a player like Tim Cahill since he retired. They've had a lot of very good names who have not been replaced. Their best player now is their goalkeeper Matt Ryan, who is very experienced. So for this group, I think it will be for Turkey. Paraguay will bring a surprise because they are very good tactically, and they've been together. And then maybe USA might sneak it in based on home advantage. Again, I will go for Turkey this group, Paraguay, USA in no particular order.
Interesting. I want you to address this concern when Mauricio Pochettino announced his squad, and then he was being asked whether he was able to establish contact with the players that they did not found their names in the final squad submitted to FIFA. And then he made these comments that when he was dropped, I think in '94, and when he was sacked by Spurs, the authorities did not communicate to him the reason why they sacked him. And the media didn't take that remarks lightly. They descended on him and they bashed him. I mean, criticized him very, very well. And Michael touched on something. That defeat against Panama raised an eyebrow. And people were calling for his exit despite going into the tournament as one of the co-hosts, demanding for a new appointment. But you look at the group that they find themselves as one of the co-hosts of the tournament. One, do you think they're under pressure? And do you think that Mauricio Pochettino, he has not had a very good run since his appointment? And are you that convinced that he'll be able to see them through this, group?
You look at the squad, and when the manager is half foot out, these are some of the signs. And today
so you are insinuating that Mauricio Pochettino is almost out?
But no, there are even reports this evening that
he's
been offered to AC Milan after the World Cup. So it's basically
whilst on another job, he's thinking about moving into a new job after the World Cup.
Because a manager that is planning for the long term, is actually not going to use just this World Cup collapse to break some of the bonds that he has built with certain players. And you have burned certain bridges. It just tells us that you are not thinking about reintegrating these players.
It's last chance saloon for him now.
Exactly. And you look at his performances getting to the World Cup, and they don't give anybody confidence that the US is actually going to take the World Cup by storm. Yes, you may have the fans, but as I keep on saying, the fans are not enough if the football doesn't do the talking. You have a Turkish team that will actually surprise you. They will come in there, they will do their business. They top this group. Now you have a Paraguay team that is coming with Almiron. They've actually gone silent for some time, but of late they've started building players in the EPO. You have Omar Alderet of Sunderland.
Who's their captain?
You have Gomez. There's a Gomez from Brighton Albion, and these are players that normally would have gone under the radar.
He joined Brighton from the MLS.
Exactly, they have gone under the radar, but Paraguay as a footballing nation actually loves pulling surprises. You look back at South Africa 2010, Rocky Santa Cruz, and they managed to sneak their way into I think the quarterfinals.
Spain. I think they exited against Spain.
And you look at how this group is set up, and they'll be licking their lips because they can pull up a surprise against the US. If Panama was able to do it against the US, Paraguay can do far better. And I look at this group, and I think Turkey and Paraguay go through. It will be hard for.
Do you think it's too late for Mauricio Pochettino to get the best out of this group of players just to mend every broken trust in this US team? Because I don't think that the journalists and the country will forgive him should they fail to qualify from the group phase.
What else can they do? You see the crop of players they have, right? If they decide to go the attacking route, very phenomenal attackers, Folarin, Balogun.
But sorry to cut you. Take a look at the numbers and the engagement of these teams: Folarin, Balogun, Christian Pulisic. Let's say these are the two.
Weston McKennie.
Even Weah. Timothy Weah.
Timothy Weah has not even played the striking role for the past year. He's been playing as a right fullback. So their best players have also dipped.
Yes, and their best players are even struggling to get playing time in their various clubs. So then you don't expect to bring such players in, and all of a sudden they kickstart the tournament. Yes, I think maybe their first game, because it's the opener, the fans may try to rile the opposition players, but their best is a draw in that opening game. And Turkey, they lose 3 points. Paraguay, another 3 points lost. It's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Except Mauricio Pochettino can actually pull up some magic wand somewhere to string a surprise. I really don't see the US going through. Maybe the one of the 8 teams to qualify in the as the top 3 teams in the World Cup. Maybe they could go through that route, but it's quite difficult.
So you think they can become one of the best 10th place teams to make it to the
they
round
can.
of 32?
And at the end of the day, one thing I'm sure of is they will be very good hosts.
All right.
At the World Cup.
Yeah, of course. That one you cannot take it away from
Yeah.
them. I mean, Eric, there's another young chap, of course, experience around him, and it gradually looks like he's going to be the face of this Turkey team. And there's Ada Güler. And we saw him during the qualifier, we saw him during the Euros. At Real Madrid against Bayern, we saw him score a wonderful free kick. Unfortunately, Kamavinga stepped onto the pitch and he messed up everything for them. And then the narrative changed just in minutes. But then, you think he's going to carry on that form that we saw him during the course of the season into this Turkey team going into the World Cup? And if he's able to maintain that standard, if he's able to maintain that consistency, one else believes that USA will be surprised by some of these teams.
US will not be surprised. US will be dominated. And
Will be dominated. Anyway, fair.
There's no way the US is going to be the big team coming into this
tournament. Okay, but Eric, you look at Ada Güler and his performance. You can't talk about, Çalhanoğlu at Inter. But coming into this tournament, haven't seen Turkey throughout the qualifiers and the Europe as well. They have some very good players as well. But I believe that you're going to keep an eye on some of these players. But as a whole, Turkey, what should we expect from them? Because we've seen them throughout the qualifiers and the Euros. And I think if some of the best players are able to maintain their consistency, they are going to be, a very tough side to play. But generally, in this particular group, what should we expect from Turkey?
Well, aside, I would want to make a point. Because if you look at their history since 2002, this is the first time they are coming to the World Cup. It's been a long wait at home. Finally, they get to play at the Mundial. I think that they would want to make a point. Like you said, they have some of the best individual players. Ada Güler at Real Madrid. If there's a good manager who will consistently play him, you would get the best out of him, and he will be one of the most talked about players in Europe. Definitely is not been the case at Real Madrid since he moved from Turkey, but any single opportunity that he's been given to play for the Turkey national team, he's always showed up, he's always proven his worth, he's always tried to carry the team, and he's always done very good things for the team. So definitely he would be one of the brightest spots in the Turkey national team. And like I said, Turkey would always want to make a point. They are one of the teams that have been able to finish third in the history of the World Cup. They did so in 2002, beating co-host South Korea. So they know how to progress out of the group. And interestingly, if you look at all the 4 teams in Group D, every single one of them have been able to advance part of group stage at one point in time when they played at the World Cup. So they all would feel like they can do it. And like Wendell did say, the US, I believe, will be dominated. I say this because under Mauricio Pochettino, they've never been convincing. You talk about their key player and Christian Pulisic. They've created so many chances for him, but go back and watch the highlights, go back and watch the games. He's not been able to convert those chances. Following Balogun at AS Monaco, will be scoring the goals. But under Pochettino, how many has he scored? The goals are not coming. If Pochettino is not going to get them to play in a way where their top attackers will be getting the goals, then it's going to be very difficult for them. You will talk about Paraguay and we say, who are Paraguay? Are they a force to reckon with in the World Cup? If you watch the 2010 World Cup, you would know that they are an interesting side. They can play against any top opposition. They play with so much confidence, and I believe that it will be the same here. They would want to come here and then they would want to show, they would want to give the people of Paraguay that feel of the 2010 World Cup where they went on that mazy run, a very, very good run, where if not for Spain, maybe they would have also tried and then maybe get into the semis or even into the final. So it's a very, very interesting group as well. You look at even Australia, for instance, in the 2022 World Cup, they were there. They went into the round of 16. Their first time that they went past the group stage was in, I think, 2006, which, I mean, the manager who is currently coaching them, Tony Popovic, he was part of that group. So he also comes in not just with the experience on the touchline, but having done it before, he would also have that confidence that he can coach these boys, he can get them through to the round of 16. So it's going to be very, 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 very difficult. And because of how we have seen them qualify for the tournament, and because we can't stick out our neck and say this side is going to really, really dominate, I think that the group is there for the taking. Yes, you would want to fancy Turkey because of the quality that they come with, but I still think that if they are also even not careful, they can be surprised by the likes of Paraguay and then the Socceroos in Australia as well. So it's a group that is going to be very, very interesting. But if you are doing predictions, then yes, you would always want to fancy.
So starting with you, and I'll go around and then we do the facts file, and I'll can wrap up. After everything that you've said, which countries do you think will be able to make it out?
I think Turkey wins the group, and
ahead of USA.
Ahead of USA, easily. I think they do that easily. I think they will beat the US and then beats the other opponent as well. They have the people, they have the men to do it. For second place, I think that Paraguay will be good, but I will still want to give USA that opportunity, that because I think that the group is there for the taking. If Turkey wins the group, I expect that USA, being the co-host, they should do enough. They should fight and make sure that they stop Paraguay from finishing second and USA get to finish second. It's going to be difficult, but then I still want to put my money on USA to do everything that they can to finish second, and then Paraguay cause all this trouble in the group and then finish third.
Interesting. Wendell, teams that you think that will make it out from this group?
Turkey goes through. That US-Paraguay game is going to be a game of the hustler G's and then the DB boys. the US team is going to have the best of everything, the shiny boost, but South American teams have something about them when it comes to these games. They find it easy in such competitions, especially against the North American side, because of how hard their region is and how hard they play. That is what gives Paraguay that edge. I don't think the US has that strength and grit to even go against this Paraguay team. Talk less of the likes of Ecuador, Colombia. The South American teams, when you look at their groups that they have been put in, it gives them some form of confidence that a lot of their countries are going to progress. I think the Turkey first, Paraguay goes through, US can probably go through the third position route, but it's even a stretch because they don't look convincing at all.
Mike?
Yeah, so basically, like everyone said, and I think we've made a point about US and their players in Europe and how they've not been able to live up to the standards, especially their own standards. And then you look at Pochettino, who keeps playing a certain Patrick Ajiman, who is a Ghanaian descent, who now plays for Derby, who scored only 2 goals or 3 goals this season. He keeps playing Patrick Ajiman ahead of Fola Balogun or Timothy Weah. So it then comes back down to one thing: the coach might even self-sabotage, and US might not even get anywhere. So it's Turkey to lead the group, like Eric said. Turkey themselves are not convincing. I said it here. They are not convincing, but based on their history and the type of quality they have in that team, you see them leading this group. And then we have Paraguay and USA. I'm only saying that it is not set in stone because USA are the home team and they might get advantage over that. But like Wendell also said, it is Chilling Subways versus Rich Boys. It will always favor Chilling Subways.
Interesting.
And maybe a bit of facts. The first time that USA and Paraguay played was in the inaugural World Cup in 1930. USA beat them by 3-0, and Bert Paternotte scored 3 goals in that game. It was the first time a hat-trick was recorded in the World Cup.
But you see, that 2010 US squad that even went to the round of 16 it's not that same.
Oh, no.
I mean, those days they had very
men.
hard players.
See the J demerit
players
alone.
with area presence and all
Clint
that.
Dempsey. I don't think they've been able to replicate.
But you don't see that in this particular setup.
They've not been able to replicate a Clint Dempsey in this squad. And Clint Dempsey on any day was coming.
Exactly.
Would get
a game for you.
Very deadly striker to play against. There are some messages here, but then let's bring you the facts file or the profile, and then we can bring you the messages and then wrap up the program here. So let's begin with USA because they are one of the host countries. Let's begin with them and bring you their country profile and then bring you what to expect from them. Washington DC, population of 325 million. The Stars and Strips, or the USNMT. CONCACAF is from their confederation. Continent is North America. That is the country profile. Let's bring you the head coach and some of the players that we can keep an eye on going into this one. Mauricio Pochettino, formerly of Chelsea, Southampton, and then Tottenham Hotspur. He's coached PSG before, but like the guys have said, he doesn't look convincing going into this tournament. Some of the players to keep an eye on from USA. Let's bring you Folarin Balogun, formerly of Arsenal, now plays for Monaco in the French League 1. He's one of the players that we need to keep an eye on going into this tournament. And I'll bring you some more players there, and so that you can be Tyler Adams. Chelsea really wanted to sign this guy, but it didn't go through. So Tyler Adams is one of the players to also keep an eye on coming or going into this particular tournament in the US setup. Let's bring you some more players to keep an eye on. Christian Pulisic, who currently plays for AC Milan. He's had his own issues, ups and downs, but he's going to lead this team as their captain, and he will remain as one of the key players to look out for. Let's bring you some players, or let's bring you the profile and the facts file from Paraguay. What to expect from them going into this particular tournament. Remember, like what Wandel said, they are all in that North America, South America area, and so they know themselves very well. Their capital is
Asuncion.
Asuncion, and population for 7.4 million, and their nickname
Los Garaniers.
Los Garaniers. Okay, so the names. Okay, so Los Garaniers is their nickname. Confederation is CONMEBOL, and in South America is the continent where they are from. Let's bring you the head coach and some of the players. Okay, Gustavo Alfaro is their head coach. He will be leading them, and there's some of the players that we need to keep an eye on. In this Miguel Almorin, formerly of Newcastle. I do remember him very well.
He also plays in the MLS, so he knows them.
Yeah, and that deal was surprising. He moved from Newcastle to MLS at a very young age, but these players, they have their own reasons for orchestrating their transfers, and so Almorin is one of the players that we need to keep an eye on. Let's bring you some players that we're going to focus on. Omar Alderete. Yes, that is one player that we also need to keep an eye on in this Paraguay setup. Omar Alderete is one of the players to keep an eye on coming into the. And we have Diego Gomez. I do remember this guy. He's with Brighton. Yes, I remember his debut. I think debut game he picked up an injury, and since then he's been very consistent for Brighton. So Diego Gomez. He joined Brighton from MLS, and he's been one key player for them, and we need to keep an eye on them. Let's head straight to Turkey, and let's bring you Turkey, their country profile, and then some of the players to keep an eye on coming into this tournament. Turkey, Ankara, a population of 85 million, and the Crescent Stars is their nickname, and their confederation is UEFA, and then they are in Europe and then Asia in terms of their continent, and will bring you their head coach, the name of the head coach, and then we have Vicencio Montella is their head coach. He will be leading them to the tournament, and some of the players to keep an eye on. I believe that some of the players, the guys have touched on them. Okay, I can't. Çalhanoğlu of AC Milan. Inter Milan. It will be part of the players to keep an eye on going into this tournament. We'll bring you some more players here on the football wave. Kenan Yildiz of Juventus. Yeah, he's also going to be one player. He will be, but don't be surprised if he end up signing for Chelsea. Yes. Ada Gule is Real Madrid. Well, I said to Chelsea, you guys are laughing.
She should sign and come and play once a week.
No Champions
once a week.
Hey, Mike, what are you saying?
No Champions League.
I'm saying I don't be surprised when he signed for Chelsea. Anyway, Ada Gule is one player that we're going to keep an eye on. Going into this tournament, the Real Madrid youngster, and one player to keep an eye on. Now let's finally touch on Australia. The guys didn't touch on them. Canberra, that's their capital, and population of 26 million, and then Socceroos is their nickname, and then AFC, and their confederation is AFC, and then continent is Oceania, coming in from there. Let's bring you their head coach and some of the players. Tony Popovic, interesting, and I like what Wendell, or I think any of the guys said. I think the last time Cahill retired from their setup, we've not seen any key player coming from them. But let's see what Popovic presents this time around. So this is their head coach, and then Harry Suta, he will be one key player to keep an eye on coming into this tournament.
Relegation player.
Oh, calm down. He now plays in
relegation player, right?
He's in Scotland.
Okay, so Harry Suta is one player that you have to keep an eye on, coming into this tournament. Let's bring you some more players to keep an eye on from Australia, and then Matt Ryan. He is a goalkeeper, and we also need to keep an eye on him as well coming into this particular tournament in North America. Matt Ryan is going to be a very key player, and then we have Greg Goodwin. He was also going to be in there for Australia and what they plan to show us, and that is from the camp of Australia. There are some messages. Let me quickly run through, and then we can wrap up the program. Loads of messages. This one says that the story behind these countries are incredible. I'm glued to my screen here in Ho. The football wave is a must watch. My name is Maoli. Thanks very much. Excellent breakdown from the groups tonight. WoezorTV is setting up the standard in football. Okay, let me take this one from Dan from Bichim. When you go beyond the names of the countries and pay attention to these details about the players and coaches, the 2026 World Cup will be exciting. This is from Dan from Bichim. Dan, thank you very much. This is exciting football with Ampa. Can't wait for the World Cup to kick off. Keep it up, guys. This is DJ Vasti. I'm getting the feeling that my favorite TV station, WoezorTV, will show the World Cup. Okay, WoezorTV, please. Are you guys showing the World Cup? Okay. All what I can say is that you stay tuned. That's all what I can say. Okay, and that one was from Fafali from Keita. Charlie WoezorTV. I feel you guys. I am watching you with a plate of. Okay, I'm watching you with a plate of salad meat in front of me. Big ups to the one who came with the football with idea. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. This is from Sabago inside Nima. Sabago, thanks very much for sharing your messages with us. All too soon, we've come to the end of our maiden edition of the Football Wave here on WoezorTV. My name is Samalapi, and I did this together with Wandelamo, Michael Gogo, and then Eric Kwafo. But there is today we had a special guest. He's not in the studio. He was doing the swish in the MCR, and that is Mimi. Mimi, thank you very much. Thanks very much to Clear, to Francis, to Selassie, to all the guys, Sami, and then the Motion Cave. Am I right with the name?
Yeah.
Motion Cave. All right, yeah. Thank you. I don't want to mess it up. Thank you very much for putting the graphics together. We are not done. Next week, same time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll be back to bring you the rest of the group. And then as we build up to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, remember, as the texter asked, all what I can say is that stay tuned. We have something special for you. Thank you very much to Kweku from Pong for putting this together for us as well. And once again, Mimi, thanks very much for helping us with the production. Mike, thanks very much for showing up.
Absolutely.
Eric, thank you very much for showing up. And then Wanda, thank you very much for showing up and for making this a memorable show. We're back on your screens again, but until then, have a good night, stay blessed as always, and take care.